Great morning, Americans, patriots. I hope that you have had a great weekend. I hope that you have an exciting week planned. Let's do something today we didn't do last week, and physically and even mentally. I'm going to read to you a article, and then I've got kind of a point to follow up with our pastor's message yesterday. So this is from a small Michigan newspaper who had the guts to say what most of us are thinking, and it is it's to the editor from a gentleman named Ken in Tawas City, Michigan. Has America become the land of the special interest and the home of the double standard? It's a good question. And I believe this is written actually a little bit like not yesterday. I think this was written within the last year or two. That's my opinion. So the article goes on. Let's see if we can lie to Congress, it's a felony. And if Congress lies to us, it's just politics. If we dislike a black person, we're racist. If a black person dislikes a white person, it is their First Amendment right. The government spends millions to rehabilitate criminals, and they do almost nothing for the victims. In public schools, you can teach that homosexuality is okay, but you better not use the word God in the process. You can kill an unborn child, but it's wrong to execute a mass murderer. We don't burn books in America. We now rewrite them. We got rid of the communist and socialist threat by renaming them progressives. We are unable to close our border with Mexico, but have no problem protecting the 38th parallel in Korea. If you protest against President Obama's policies, you're a terrorist. But if you burned an American flag or George Bush in effigy, it was your First Amendment right. You can have pornography on TV or the internet, but you better not put a nativity scene in a public park during Christmas. We have eliminated all criminals in America. They are now called sick people. We can use a human fetus for medical research, but it's wrong to use an animal. We take money from those who work hard for it and give it to those who don't want to work. We all support the Constitution, but only when it supports our political ideology. We still have freedom of speech, but only if we are being politically correct. Parenting has been replaced with Ritalin and video games. The land of opportunity is now the land of handouts. The similarity between Hurricane Katrina and the Gulf oil spill is suggested that neither president did anything to help. And how do we handle a major crisis today? The government appoints a committee to determine who's at fault, then threatens them, passes a law, raises our taxes, tells us the problem is solved so they can get back to their re-election campaign. What has happened to the land of the free and the home of the brave? I'm not saying that I agree with everything the article points out, but I do believe that the article makes some very valid points. Our pastor yesterday reminded us of one of the great maxims in life. Hate destroys the hater. If you've ever really disliked somebody to the point that you feel like you hate them, an individual person or a group of people, they probably don't even know it. But you, or any of us that have ever really disliked someone to the point of real hatred, we think about it all the time. It's what consumes us. And yesterday at church, we had a great opportunity to listen to a great message, a great reminder message about the power of forgiveness. All of us have been wronged in some way. And more than likely, we've wronged somebody else. And many times when we wrong somebody else, we didn't even realize it. Now, also, many times when we wrong somebody else, we knew exactly what we were doing. And when I was listening to the message about the power of forgiveness yesterday, I could not help but think about how much I dislike people on the other side of the political aisle, groups of people, the things that they've said about me or us, patriots, people that believe in America, as this person is suggesting, America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, and opportunities, not handouts, about the system of meritocracy based on as you perform well, you receive more. The dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that all of us would be judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. And so I thought, you know what, my dislike, my disgruntlement, I need to make sure that I am forgiving those who have a different political worldview than me. I also, yesterday during the course of the day, reflected about, wow, here is another example of how I really truly believe that people that I'm standing with can and will forgive. And I'll use President Biden as an example. If President Biden admitted, you know what, I took money, my family took money, we leveraged the office of the vice presidency, and 5 of my family members became millionaires. I'm sorry. I got caught up in a 50-year, this is what you do, this is what we do as politicians. If every politician actually admitted the treasonous acts that have been committed against the population, against the citizenry, to make things better for themselves, but not for our country, the sovereignty of our country, but instead they were acting on behalf of a global elite mechanism, maybe even specifically the Chinese Communist Party. If any of that actually came out, what we do know, especially about Americans, about humans in general though, if real contrition, if real, man, I'm really sorry, I messed up and I want to do better, so many of us, we accept that. We need to see the actions taken to make things better. These are all the thoughts that are running in my head yesterday. And I woke up this morning and thought, man, before I get that workout in, let's share some of these things. I appreciate each and every one of you. We've got 50 subscribers here now. I appreciate each and every one of you willing to take a little bit of time. And I try to keep these videos at 10 minutes. I'm going to try to do my best today to listen to my worldview, to listen to how my worldview has been shaped. I hope I can be words of encouragement, seeking the truth. Again, trying to connect the dots. It's not easy. We got a lot of moving targets here. But one of the truths is that hate destroys the hater, and forgiveness gives the forgiver freedom. How many of us are in that same position today? That we need to forgive somebody else, an individual or a group. How many of us need to recheck and think, hey, you know what? Our system is still intact and it can work as long as we take the right steps. And it does need to be based on some real truths. Hate destroys the hater. Forgiveness, it releases the forgiver from that bondage. So, this week, I'll also challenge you. We're going to move into a studio, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion. I encourage anybody that wants to discuss and have a critical thinking conversation about any of the topics, and you have a different opinion than me. I welcome you. Reach out to me. Contact me if you want to be part of this. We'll do it. We'll do it together. For now, I'm James Detroit, and I'm out.